What's going on, Jerome's? So the Jordan Addison situation has run the full spectrum of fan reaction. On one hand, fans are like, well, he's very good on the field. Young people make mistakes. Got to show some grace for the second off season in a row. And then the other end, this is not how the organization should be represented. I do not want him on my football team. Now, the best way to go about this is probably somewhere in the middle. But either way, second off season in a row where Addison has put himself and the organization in a bad situation. And one of the things I was looking forward to the most to the Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell press conference on Monday, kicking off training camp, was how they would address the Jordan Addison situation. Now, they didn't dwell on it, but they did cover it rather extensively. But at the end of the day, it was we'll see how the legal process plays out, which is a standard company line. And the reaction does speak to the culture change. Now, could you imagine if this was the Zimmer-Spielman era? Nah. But Kevin O'Connell said this, and these quotes are directly from the team site. We're disappointed in Jordan Addison. We care about these players. We really do, and we want to make sure we're doing our part for the development on the field, O'Connell said. The other aspect of it is the off the field and life skills and development of decision-making and learning how important it is, within our culture, and we're very proud of that. Very proud of that our players understand personal responsibility and accountability. And, that leads into what, Josh Murtella said of the situation where it is about leadership. It is about taking accountability, and it is about, policing, the players policing themselves. And it is about leadership really stepping in and being like, hey, Jordan, you're an amazing talent, but you got to get right off the field, because eventually, if you keep putting yourself in these situations, odds are it could result in something that would be very extremely tragic. And also the fact that he's not only putting himself at risk, but also other innocent people, bystanders, and also his ultimately, this is a football team, and his actions could take him off the field, and that's what matters in this business. You wrap your arms around these guys, and you ensure that they know that we care, but at the same time, they have to hear those messages, and they have to understand things that are not going to be acceptable by any stretch, and we've got to continue utilizing the resources we do have as an organization. Now, a lot of people have taken issue with the sort of light touch approach, and you could say that it was basically a cut and paste response to Addison's incident from last offseason as well. But one of the things too is you praise in public and you criticize in private. Now, I actually do believe the reports from Doogie that a lot of people in the Vikings organization are pissed, mainly because it's the second offseason in a row, as well as the timing in terms of the alleged DUI with the tragic passing of Kyrie Jackson and two other souls. But it's a spot, praising in public. This is not a praising. Like, this is an admonishment, but is it a full-on nuclear taking him to task? No, it's not that. But that doesn't mean that isn't happening behind the scenes, as we saw from the Netflix documentary. Kevin O'Connell getting after the team after the Eagles lost. He continues, how Kwesi and I have really tried to build our locker room and our team. I think it's really important that the discipline side of things is an accountability, personal responsibility. Those are things we will talk about, and I will personally talk about with Jordan again. But at the same time, he didn't say again, but But at the same time, there's going to be a continuing legal process playing out in the NFL. And that's what it comes down to, because as we said before, what you tolerate is a standard. And if there isn't repercussions, if there isn't accountability being put in place here, if you're another player on this team, you're just like, why do I have to toe the line? Addison doesn't. So what about me? And that does lead into the degradation of the culture that they've worked very hard to build up. It's like Wes Phillips and his incident, where there's been a lot of assistants, a lot of coaches around the league that have had similar incidents, and some don't get suspended. But they did suspend Wes Phillips for 3 weeks. Now, you could say that that's a slap on the wrist, but it was something. And Kwesi, weighed in. He, Jordan Addison, holds himself to a high standard, was raised by a great family. He knows the types of behaviors he needs to do to be the best version of himself, and he's let himself down in that regard, Adofo-Mensah said, using words like discipline and different things like that. We don't really talk about it like that inside these walls. Inside these walls, it's about designing for the outcome we want. The outcome we want is for Jordan to be the best version of himself on and off the field, and he's bought into that exact same thing. So that does seem like a lot of like new age. Yeah, it is a changing of the culture, and I'm like a touch more old school than new school, and that's really just kind of I don't know, man. But you can see why a lot of people took umbrage. Star Tribune had a column about it where basically saying that the Vikings were too soft on Addison in the presser. But like we said, it could certainly be a spot where they say all these niceties and about the culture and very soft touch in the presser, but they're taking Addison to task in private. Certainly could be a possibility. And O'Connell wrapped up here. O'Connell was asked about Addison potentially missing game action. He said, we'll adapt and be flexible with our plans, so that's not a no. With most of these situations around the league, it's normally an NFL player conduct thing where a process plays out over a period of time, O'Connell said. The legal process is still playing out as well, so we'll let those things happen and work off that accordingly. Now, given the timeline of the legal process, this could take a while because if this does go to trial or if this, even if it doesn't, even if this could potentially be extended into oblivion because the NFL does wait until the legal process plays out to have official league punishment, and the Vikings could do that as well, or it could be within their purview since this is the second off season in a row where they could suspend Addison for a game, for conduct detrimental to the team, and also potentially void the guarantees in his rookie contract, which, being a first-round pick, all 4 years of his deal are fully guaranteed at this moment in time. And as we said, as a guy who says, let's get paid, that could be a way to get your message through. But we'll see what happens. Like, it's extremely possible and maybe even probable that he won't face punishment this season because if the team and the league goes by the, hey, let's let this legal process play out, Addison could play the full season because Marcus May was suspended for 3 games last year in 2023 for an incident that he had in 2021. So, I mean, Addison may not even face suspension for this or punishment for this until, months or even years in the future. So we'll see what happens. Like, it's still a fluid situation. Details are still coming in, and, the Vikings and Addison will adapt and roll with it as they go. But either way, this can't keep happening. That's what it comes down to. And you could say, well, maybe he's just a young, immature kid, and we all made mistakes at 22. That seems to be a tack that a lot of people are taking. Or, you're on strike 2, 3 strikes, you're out. And it's got to be somewhere in the middle because I actually think that both sides do have merit in this situation. But it comes down to Addison, man. It's like you have a chance to be not only good, not only great, but extremely great. That doesn't work. It's supposed to be good, very good, but great. He has a chance to be great, and he obviously loves money. Who doesn't love money, right? And you have a chance to get a lot of money. Like, have you seen some of the wide receiver contracts? Did you see what Brandon Ayuk just got paid? Or is going to get paid? Did you see what Justin Jefferson, your teammate, just got paid? But to do that, you have to stay on the field. And you've had a nice rookie season, but that is not going to get you paid. You need to stay on the field. You need to prove that you can be accountable. Because, again, Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi always stresses accountability. Well, be accountable. That's what it comes down to, man. Not only for yourself, but for your wallet, for your team, for everything, man. Just go from there. Anyways, your thoughts are thoughts. Kevin O'Connell, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah addressed the Jordan Addison situation on Monday. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts. Comment section below. You guys know what to do. Skol, production value.